I can't believe it. It's been 2 years since I'd last made a video, and a lot has happened. A lot has happened since I last uploaded the video, with when it comes to my development, personally, and just what's been going on in the world as of late. Just there's been so much since I'd last uploaded. I gotta apologize to you guys because I have went dark for a very long time, and that has not been something I wanted to do, but it's more so I had really bad procrastination with a lot of things, and I had gotten very busy, and COVID did not make that easier, and then we got all these other different things that's happening. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot. I've dealt with a lot of burnout. That's a big reason as to why I have not had an updated video in forever. Because definitely part of me dreaded having to edit and having to do stuff at the time, and I was like, I do not want to be able to do all these things. Like, this is like too much. And so I just needed a break and a change of mind on a lot of things. And looking back, that may have been a really good decision because so much has changed, and so much new things there are to brief you guys and talk to you guys about that's coming to the channel, and what's actually coming to the other social media, and a lot of changes are happening. This is not all going to happen all at once. I am only one person after all, so I'm going to take my time, but I won't take 2 years of time like last time. So looking at my channel now, it's, oh my goodness. So the last thing I had uploaded from that long ago was about a project I was working on called Project Tubes, and this was kind of a small concept I had where you would have what was it? It was something around the lines of kind of having a survival like mechanics with crafting and being able to use weapons to knock down ores and mine trees and all these different things and all these little actions I had. It'll be on screen now for sure, just to, give you guys a refresher, because I doubt anyone really remembers. But Tubes as it stands right now did get some updates, but for the most part, I did actually close that entire concept down in a way, because there's a spiritual successor, which I will talk about later in this video, which is, it doesn't suffer from the problems that I was coming to with Tubes from a gameplay design perspective, and there's so much more better things to talk to you guys about with that. While Tubes is gone, the successor that I will talk about later is infinitely better in every way, so I can't wait to get to that part. And then another thing before I get to talk about anything else is like Project Frontier. Was the first thing this channel focused on, and what's going on with it, what's happening. Well, Frontier, just as I had left it when I was working on Tubes, it is still in stasis, and for now I consider it something to come back to if I have a development team, because the server work, the multiplayer work, and honestly I would like to reprogram it from the ground up again. And I have a lot of idea changes with it, especially canning the story and retconning all the story elements and just making it purely just from a gameplay perspective. There's a lot of things I have thought about with the game, and Frontier as it stands, I actually do miss it. I have come time to time and like take a look at what I was making and how it was turning out, and I really do like Frontier because it's a one type of a game that I've made. Like, no other project comes close to the kind of project that Frontier was going to become as like a multiplayer FPS shooter. Honestly, I think development had stopped just based on me wanting a break, but also realizing that I needed to have a larger team for a lot of this stuff. And yeah, I'd say that Frontier is just one of those ideas that will sit in the background for a long time until I make an announcement about it. But yeah, Frontier is just going to be kind of its own thing that's just there but not being worked on, and when I have a proper team, I'm going to come back to it. So that's kind of where Frontier is right now. Again, no new plans to revitalize it right now. So without any further delay, let's start talking about my current game development projects and I did say that with an S. We have two projects, Project Arbiter and Project Souls Astray. So, first of all, I'm going to start with Project Arbiter, and then eventually we'll go to Souls Astray, and I'll talk about that. So first, what is Project Arbiter? And what genre is this game exactly? What is this? Well, Project Arbiter is being developed currently as a single-player action-adventure game with fantasy elements, so things like with magic or old world kind of things. And it's definitely heavily inspired by The Legend of Zelda, and there is a platforming element to it. In general, a lot of the things that you'll be seeing in the game it'll be narrative driven, it'll be story based, it won't be a sandbox, it'll be pretty much focused on what the story is trying to tell so that you can move through the game and open more parts of the game up. And it's just more of your traditional in that way, though there is a lot of freedom in what you can do and your decision making and things like that. So what is the story of Project Arbiter? What is going on exactly? What's the world? Why are we here? What are all these things that's going on in this project? Well, I wrote some stuff down so that I could read some things down to you guys to give you a good idea. Project Arbiter is a game that follows the point of view of a woman that was born from the hopes and dreams of the people of Chiffon to save them. She is known as Nefia, the Dreamweaver. She was blessed with a special power from a goddess and is now what is called an Arbiter. An Arbiter is a hero given a special divine thread that amplifies their natural powers by granting them a high magical thread count and a special skill. Her power lies in dream weaving, the ability to manipulate memories and dreams of others and create them in the real world using her thread magic to weave them into reality. In this game, Chiffon is given balance when the dream wells, which are special powerful conduits that grant people the ability to use divine thread magic to protect themselves and keeps nightmares at bay, known as the Mihishki. The Mihishki are born from the nightmares and fears of the people of Chiffon. They originally, however, began from being created from a being known as the Kithler, or the god of nightmares. When all of the dream wells were corrupted, the land and its people were damaged. Nightmares, which were rare, now became commonplace. And the land of Chiffon was dragged into certain destruction. The people now live reclusively and in fear with no hope to fight them back without dream magic to combat the dark magic of the nightmares. The land of Chiffon has been lost. Now a new face has appeared as the reason for the corruption of all the dream wells. A special nightmare known as Shroud, a loyal servant of the Kithler that is known as the Lord of Nightmares. This mysterious figure with incredible power now threatens to allow nightmares to take over Chiffon and eventually the world over for his master, so he may enter the world of the living, to create an age where gods walk amongst men again, to create a world of chaos, fear, and destruction. With her guide and companion, Chubai, whom hails from a divine realm as an aid of the gods at her side, will Nefia be able to scour the lands in search of purifying all of the dream wells and defeating the nightmares? Are there other gods at work? Will she hone her powers for what's to come? That may be a bit of a mouthful. However, this is what sets the precedence of what this game is going to be about and how things are going to essentially play out. And the next question I'm going to answer, and I want to give you guys a better idea, because I imagine you have a lot of questions like, what's this thing with threads? What is this? What are these ideas here? What's going on with these themes? Well, I'm going to talk about what the themes of the games are currently. And so, a lot of the game is going to be centered around dreams and nightmares, because our main character has this skill of being able to use dream magic and to be able to use them to purify and cleanse away nightmares. And to get around the world, you're going to be traveling on a boat, sailing from island to island, and unlocking a lot of the secrets hidden within the land of Chiffon. And you're going to notice that maybe some of the words I'm saying has a connotation with sewing and fabric and things of that nature. And a lot of the game and its themes from a literary perspective, and also from a combat player gameplay driven perspective, that everything is kind of focused on the concept of sewing. The character herself, Nefia, she uses a needle as her main weapon. She also has access to a pair of scissors and a strung repeating crossbow as her 3 main weapons in the game. And of course, with those being her main weapons, and how the weapons will be useful against certain kinds of enemies because each weapon has a different damage type. There will be other items that Chubai, our character from Project Chubes that is in this game, since this is the spiritual successor, he's actually your partner character, and he actually ascends. He's ascended. I guess you could say an ascended being, and he actually comes down from his realm out of concern for what's going on in the world, and he noticed Nefia's existence down in the world, and he came down and he wants to actually help her save the world, because if this does not happen, this is going to be a massive problem. It's going to be very difficult for the rest of the world to deal with, since if it gets any bigger than this, it might just be over for everyone. So he's obviously going to come down and guide you through the game. He's a bit of a wisecracker, and I think a lot of people are going to really like him. But he has a few special abilities that's going to help you in the game, and his ability is actually to transform into other items. So you're going to find items in the game, and he's actually going to be able to mimic them, because a lot of the old items that they're needing to be able to use are broken and have been like destroyed and lost to time. But if they come into contact with it, Chubai can actually transform into these items, and these items are really important because they can be used to help solve the puzzles of the world within the islands that you'll be sailing to. It will be able to allow you to explore the world in different ways too, such as him turning into a lantern, being able to see in the dark, him being able to do all kinds of sorts of things. I don't want to say too many things. I want to keep things a secret right now. I don't want to go into too much detail. I want to leave that for a different video. But you'll just see as the game goes on that there's a focus on sewing, and there's a focus on stitching and all these different kinds of magics and threads, and you'll notice that everything is going to be heavily associated with these things. And lastly, one other big question I want to answer for you guys is, what exactly will you be doing in the game in general? Like, progression wise, what are you going to be doing in this game? Well, you're going to be fighting monsters of all different sizes, and monsters will be resistant to certain kinds of damage types depending on the kind of weapon you're using. So you'll definitely need to get all weapon types in order to get the game properly. You'll actually be collecting permanent upgrade items that give you permanent maximum health, and all these kinds of other different things that'll be able to scale you up so you can be stronger and take more hits throughout the game. There's new weapons and armor to put on, and in this game, armor is known as thimbles. And thimbles have different effects that kind of allow you to defend yourself in different ways, which is pretty neat. You'll get new tools, like I told you earlier with Chubai. He's going to be transforming into other objects that you come into contact with. That'll be very important for you to solve puzzles. And you'll be using your boat to get across the ocean and dealing with all of the dangers out on the waters, from weather to creatures in the ocean and to traps, and perhaps even other boats that act as almost pirates that want to take you out instead. So there's a lot of things to be worried about. There's a lot of things to just kind of like take in with this game. Again, I'll go into deeper detail in a different video, but these are just some things to think about. And the next thing I want to talk about was, what is the development roadmap for Project Arbiter currently? So right now, you'll probably be looking at this screen right here. And this is actually a lot of the things that I've been working on. And everything that has been highlighted in green are all things that are currently in the game and working 100% as intended. So there is actually a lot of things that are able to be that were implemented already, that were able to be implemented. I'll be scrolling down slowly and you guys can take a look at certain things. And again, I'll go into actually reading in detail about a lot of these things in a different video. But I have a lot of different concepts, special stats that get scaled with certain items, and they have special names that has to do with stitching to next to them, as you can see. And there's a lot of things that I have in buffs and debuffs, CC effects. There's a lot of things that I have, and a lot of things that I don't quite have at the same time. But majority of things actually have been done. And particularly, actually, I'll take a note to actually talk about this. In the game, like I said earlier, there's actually a lot of things about platforming, and these are some of the platforming skills that are currently in the game that actually work, which are pretty cool. And you're gonna see that as I go further down, there's just more and more things that I have done, and there's just been a lot of things I've gotten. There's a lot of stuff. So currently, right now on the docket is to move to completing my dialogue system that I'm currently programming right now, and I'll be moving to skills afterwards. I'll be moving to art direction and modeling the character and combat. So right now, this update that I'm in currently is all about the basics of the game structure, like having an inventory system, being able to move, being able to do all kinds of different things. And right now, I'm just working on trying to complete phase 1, which is all these basic things: camera usage, movement, all these other things. And I'll go deeper into this in this video, so I don't want to go in too deep because I want to explain these things in greater detail in Unity when that video comes around, which will be like the next video after this. So I'm just trying to show you guys just, generally what I have, but pretty much there's a lot of things to still do. I've got to make enemies, I've got to make the character, I have to animate her, I have to set up quite a lot of visual things because the game doesn't have really that much visual stuff worked on. I just have systems working, and I'll show you guys those things when we get to that video. But for now, I'm just trying to show you things that I've been working on. Again, the visual implementation of armor is not a thing, but the mechanics of them working are all in the game. The system is in the game for it to work. Skills aren't in the game, and we'll talk about tension, but there's a lot of different little mechanics that I like to go into when we get to that video. So I'm just gonna kind of like just show you guys stuff that I had, and I will move to the next thing. So the last thing I wanted to talk about before I move into Souls Astray is the demo. I will have a demo complete of the game in 1 month from now, and I will have a video up, and I will be talking about in detail all the mechanics that's going on in Souls Astray and what's in the game and what's in that particular update for phase 1 of testing. So that demo is actually going to be very cool. You're going to be able to do a lot of things. You're going to be able to talk to characters. You're going to be able to move your camera around. You're going to have the different camera modes working. Your lock on like Z targeting like camera. You'll be able to jump on walls. You'll be able to like wall jump and all those little things you saw with the movement abilities. You'll be able to do all these things, and you'll be able to test how the game just feels. So the last title to talk about is a very different title compared to Project Arbiter. For a more action adventure, more Zelda inspired game is one thing, which is Project Arbiter, but Souls Astray is very different. Souls Astray is an action adventure roguelike with a tentative multiplayer aspect to the game right now that's not quite in, but it's something that I would like to add if this game were to become very popular. If the game were to become very popular and was very well received, I would definitely go in and add multiplayer, but for now, it's simply single player. So, this game is a mix between science fiction and fantasy, but in this particular game, it structures around this idea of how Many characters in quite a few galaxies around the world and different planets are all interested in this one particular place. This place is known as the Void. And I'm going to go deeper into that, but that is the spark for the beginning of how the game begins. And we have our main character, and there are many other characters to play as that have different kits. You'll meet them, you'll be able to actually have a story mission to learn about them, and you're going to essentially have like almost a Risk of Rain 2 like gameplay where you collect items and you scale your character up. But though in this game, levels are very important. Leveling and experience gain is really important to unlock the full potential of your character, since a lot of these things that your characters have are based on levels to unlock more of the kit. The game centers around a special place known as the Void, a mysterious point of interest in the many galaxies of people that have heard of its legendary tales. It's said that most that enter in it have not come back alive. The Void allows only certain people that have a special marker on them, which allows them to be able to enter this cosmic maelstrom of mystery. The main character, Nakala Fozen, has a reason to be here. A thief that made a small name for herself was caught in a betrayal of an illegal guild known as Thousand's Tooth, a guild known for disrupting military research, stealing of weapons and information, and even in some cases, ransom of high-profile criminals. Nakala, with execution awaiting her if she were to come back empty-handed, enters the Void reluctantly. A mechanical creature known as the Interstellar Sentinel fires an anti-material beam, and her expert dodging was all for naught. She was hit eventually and crash lands on a planet within the Void known as Umbra. Now she must track down a supposed legendary weapon, a part of a set known as Hander weapons, if she wants to walk free. As she goes through the game, she meets many other characters of various backgrounds, all on the planet for very vastly different reasons. For exile, abandonment, personal atonement, to become stronger, to reclaim their nation, to find meaning in their immortality, to long for companionship, and many more interesting people you will come into contact with. Will you be able to leave this dangerous planet? And that is essentially a very general story of the game. And I will like to point something out. Unlike Project Arbiter currently, Astray has so much content written about it that I had to make this so brief so that you guys would be able to understand it, because I really want to go into detail with this project, especially because there is a lot of concrete written things that are not going to change that I would like to read to you guys about for you to learn and hear about the story of the game. So again, I would like to go into greater detail, like for example, for Astray, I've actually already written the opening cutscene already for the game of how it begins. I would love to read this stuff for you so you guys can actually really hear an interaction between how Nakala speaks and how she is in her background, and how her and other characters meet up and how they talk and their backstories and their background and why the way they are. There's a lot to talk about because there's a lot of playable characters and there's a lot of stuff to just get into, but that's the overall story of it without taking any longer than that. So what are the themes? Well, the themes of this game, from like I described, is space, it's science fiction, there's fantasy, and there's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of mystery in this game in particular. There's mystery in Project Arbiter as well, but there's a lot more focus of that in this game. So what will you be doing in the game? The game will center around you playing all the way to getting to the end, since this is a roguelike and it's all about getting to as far as you can get. But the important thing is that as you go through the game, you'll be unlocking certain missions or challenges, and these will usually unlock character stories. Character stories will have full-on stories where you play the game essentially in a different mode, and you have to play the story to the end, and at the end you unlock maybe one character or maybe even two. And you'll learn a lot about the lore, and from there you'll unlock more stages for you to go through when you play the game normally through like a regular roguelike instead of a character story arc mode, gameplay mode, which I'll be having. And you do have to unlock characters in a specific order in this game. Unlike others, that is one limitation that will be there. But I think overall, because of how I'll be telling the story, I think it'll be very interesting. In the game, after completing missions, things like that, you will get those permanent unlocks, and there's other unlocks such as items. Like in Risk of Rank 2, you have items that you unlock for different challenges. That's this kind of the same thing in Souls Astray. One thing that's important to add is that, like I've said before, the game heavily scales on experience levels, and there is a max level. So when you get to certain levels, you'll unlock parts of your kit, and you'll be able to have more things to do the further you go in the game. In addition, there's shops, there's chests to unlock, to find new items. There are active items too that you can use to act as like equip items in Risk of Rain 2 as well. But though I take my own spin and difference on these things. And one particular limit when it comes to equipment and items in this game is that there is a such thing as an equipment load. So you can't equip everything you pick up just because you pick it up. You have to balance the weight of the items that you're equipped. So one item rarity might be white, like basic common tier. That's worth 1 weight. But the next one may be green. That's worth 2. And so you have, and when they stack different. So you're going to have to kind of manage that. But as you level up, that weight limiter increases, and you gain more damage, you gain more HP, and every character in the game actually has their unique scaling. So certain characters might scale on critical chance and critical damage. Every character gets at least 2 unique stats that they scale on. For example, the main character, she actually scales on currently in the game with money gain. So she naturally levels up and gains increased money than other characters. That's a unique thing for her that all the other characters in the game do not have. So you'll notice that there's some really unique special stats your character will build over time. And eventually, if I do ever work multiplayer in, that's going to be pretty big for other characters, since you'll be able to, share money and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of like how the game will work. And the game will have one last thing to say before I move on to the next thing. The game will have randomly generated maps, structures in it, so that every time you run through the game, it's a little different. I will talk more about that later when I go back to Souls Astray in its development cycle. But for now, that's the best way I can say without me getting too complex and too deep. And then the development roadmap for Souls Astray. There's a lot of things to talk about with Souls Astray. To be fair, what I'm on currently, so if I were to compare Project Arbiter to Souls Astray, Project Arbiter is in phase 1 of development. Souls Astray is in phase 2. So it's further along than Arbiter is currently. And right now I'm working on building the main character's kit, and I'm working on making her model and her animations. That's kind of the next pass that I'm working on. If that's complete, then I can talk about other things. But for right now, the major focus is to finish the main character. Once we do that, I'm going to talk about roadmap stuff beyond that. But for now, I think that's the most important thing for me to talk about. That's like the biggest thing to do. So, before I end this video, I just want to recap a little bit. First of all, I'm going to be improving my game development workflow. There's a lot of stuff that I've learned that I was doing wrong, that was slowing my development, that was making me more tired quicker, that was burning me out worse. There's so many things I had learned throughout the years that I was not uploading, and for what it told me is that I'm glad I'm beginning to really evolve my workflow, and I'm really trying to do everything in my power to make things as easy as possible, so that I don't have to pay for it later because I did something sloppy or because I didn't know how to do something properly. So music, art, 3D modeling, everything I'm going to improve on. I already have an instrument that I've been playing, that I've been incorporating in my music. I have like a keyboard that actually works. Let's see. I think I have this hooked up right now. I mean, I'm not playing anything, but I'm not playing a song, but I'm just showing you like this. I have a keyboard now. I can play notes, and it's helped my music significantly. I can't wait to do a music video to talk to you guys about how my music has been working and to show you guys what I've been working on. and how I've been trying to improve. There's a lot of stuff to show you guys. There's so many things. There's so many changes that's why this video is probably decently long, but I don't want to be longer than it has to be. There's just so much I've done, and there's so much to brief you guys, talk to you guys about. The next thing I really definitely want to talk about is actually video updates on the game's progress. I'm going to make it very known that I will not be making videos too rapidly, because when I do that, it adds a bit of extra stress on me, because sometimes I just want to focus on the game and not focus on social media too much, because it takes a lot of time for me away from the game to make this content and actually try and make it decent. So this is definitely something that I'll be trying to make more apparent. Like, I really want to say, hey, I'm making a video, guys. Maybe I might have to delay it, because I had to delay this video like twice because I got sick with COVID, and then I had some family stuff to deal with. So there's nothing I can do about that. But I will keep you guys posted. I want to speak to you guys. I want more engagement. I want to do more so that I can get more people to see my projects, and just be interested and want to, if they are interested, to look at the game, and to know that I'm going to update them in a reasonable time. And then lastly, when it comes to Discord, Twitter, and some other stuff, I'm definitely going to make some changes. You guys will see them as they happen. When I make those changes and everything's like pretty good, I think I'll probably make a video on that, just to update you guys about that, just to keep engagement going. And yeah, I think that'll be a nice thing to do. Also, when it comes to Twitter, when I eventually make my branding change for my channel and everything, Twitter will be changing too. So I'll just let you guys know that. I'd like to be able to talk more on Twitter, so I'll make some more messages. I'll maybe post some development screenshots on YouTube community, or YouTube, or not YouTube, or Twitter. Either one, whatever one I guess I'll try and mirror them and try and do it on both sides. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say, and I'm happy that you guys have went and seen this video, if you have, and are interested to see the fact that I'm not dead. I'm alive, and I am still developing. That has never stopped, but I did take a break because I got burnt out, and I needed I just needed time to change how I was doing stuff. Just needed time. So while I had my time to do that, I'm not going to do that again. And I just want to stay on a consistent regimen for all these things. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm not entirely sure exactly when I'll have the next video up, but I can say this: in roughly a month, I will have another video about Project Arbiter, and we will have a demo out, and I'll talk a lot about stuff about that. We'll have a roadmap video or something similar, maybe after that, and then I can go into Astray and start talking about that project and showing you what the game is looking like there. So I'm just gonna be bouncing between two games, and y'all will kind of, keep up with me, and I'll show you guys what's going on. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been a long time. This video probably came out of nowhere for a lot of people, or maybe you were in the Discord still and you knew about it. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in 1 month.